Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the Real Estate and Mortgage Show. This is episode 41, and hope everybody's had a good week. Just wanted to talk just a few things that real estate agents are struggling with in a market like we're having now. So, as you guys probably know, it's a pretty busy market out there in terms of listings. There's not a whole lot of them. In terms of buyers, there is a ton of them. So there is obviously very much a seller's market. And I can tell you, working with a listing, it's fantastic. But working with a buyer, it's a little bit more frustrating. So I just wanted to go through 6 things that I think are very frustrating in dealing in a real estate market like we're in right now, and maybe give you some counsel and some advice on what to do to combat it. Not all of these points I'll have something like that, but I just wanted to sort of vent out in terms of what we're dealing with in the real estate market, in the time that we're in right now. Okay, so the first one that's probably the most frustrating is low list prices. There are some agents that have a practice of listing properties very low and then putting in a remark in the listing that they're not going to be entertaining listings until a certain day. Okay, so today, for example, is the 17th of June, and they may put in that they're not entertaining offers until, the 22nd of June, which is Monday, right? So, at any rate, obviously, this is the whole tactic behind this is to try and attract multiple buyers, try and get a bidding war going on the house. And I can tell you, as a buyer's agent, like when I wear my buyer's agent's hat, it's very frustrating because obviously your buyer is enthusiastic about wanting to get the house, and all of a sudden he's up against 5, 10. I've heard some in the GTA as much as 70 and 80 bids on the same property. Very frustrating process. I get why sellers do it, but it's frustrating nonetheless. So am I going to tell sellers to stop doing it? I understand why they're doing it. They're trying to get as much money for their house, but nonetheless, it is a frustrating process. And buyers need to understand that. So when you're going in a multiple offer situation, we did an episode a little while ago on what you need to do to get into multiples. Obviously be patient with the agent you're working with because only one person's going to be able to buy that house. The second thing that I find frustrating in this kind of market as well is, now that real estate seems to be very, very easy to not so much acquire, but to sell, all of a sudden everybody's a real estate expert. So, I get it and I understand that people are reaching out for advice. It's a big purchase and all that kind of thing. Make sure you're getting it from somebody who knows what they're talking about. Not from Uncle Tom who's bought 3 or 4 homes. Hey, I'm sure Uncle Tom's a wise man and knows how to deal with certain things. But, make sure you get advice from somebody that you trust. And, your real estate agent, your home inspector, your lawyer, all that kind of thing. And quite honestly, some people will say, well, hey, I'm not going to take advice from the real estate agent. He's on a commission. Well, you know what? If you feel that way, you got the wrong realtor. Go hire somebody else because if you think this guy's just trying to jam you into a house, then you got the wrong guy. Go out and hire somebody else. But, make sure that when you get expert advice, get it from an expert, not from some armchair quarterback that thinks they know everything about real estate and they don't. Number three, the other thing that is frustrating to me in the real estate market as we speak now is unflexible showing times. I'm running into a bit of this lately, and it really puzzles me because when I'm out showing property to a buyer, I'm not showing them one house. I'm showing them anywhere from 3 to sometimes 7 or 8 houses. And we've got these appointments stacked. Nothing bothers me more, or nothing is so arrogant to me than a seller going, oh, you know what, that time doesn't work for me. Come back later at 7 o'clock. Or, well, I thought, well, hold it here. My appointment time is 3 o'clock. I'm not going to be with those people for 4 hours, and we're not going to make a special trip to come back to your place. So don't be attached to the fact that those people aren't going to come back. Now I know that it's a hot market, and you lose that one, you'll get the next one. I get that. Okay. But there is, a certain courtesy and protocol that I think if you're going to be on the market, try and accommodate everybody. The fourth thing that bothers me is this is sort of a twofold part is one, seeing everything in your price range to make sure you're not missing anything, or B, looking at a house for a long extended period of time when you actually have no interest in actually buying it. Okay. So the first part to that is obviously seeing everything in your price range. Once in a while, we get somebody that says, "Hey, you know what? I want to see everything that's in my price range. I want to make sure that I'm not, missing anything." Well, if you got to do that, your needs are not clear, and quite honestly, the buying process is going to be very difficult for you because you're not clear on what you want to buy. So what you really want to do is really nail down that part of it. Get to know your needs, get a good handle on your needs, share that with the realtor you're working with, and then focus specifically on what you're looking for. A, price is certainly very important, no question about it, but B, make sure that the parameters of the property meet your needs and the location and that sort of thing. Don't waste your time looking at something that's, not going to suit you. It's a waste of time, and quite honestly, it's intrusive. Okay, you're looking at somebody's home. If you have no interest in buying it, don't go through it. All right. The second part to that is, of course, when I'm showing properties, and you've got somebody that's looking at a house, they're being very, very cautious and taking a look at it, and sometimes they take an extended period of time to take a look at this property, really analyzing every nook and cranny of the house, being very critical of decorating, or maybe the way they might have laid something out. And then you get outside and say, well, hey, what do you think of that place? And they go, oh no, I hated it. I hated it the minute I walked in. Why did we spend a half hour or 45 minutes in the house then? Folks, you don't like the house, tell the agent and get the heck out of that house. Okay? You're burning up time, number one. You could spend more time in the house you actually like, not to mention, somebody has made accommodations for you to come through their home. If you have no interest in buying their home, get the heck out of it. Okay? I hope I'm not coming across too strong, but it's just something that, it's a pet peeve of mine, and I just wanted to bring it up to you. Hey folks, it's Walter Montero. Just a quick interruption to this week's show. We all know that real estate is a great investment, but wouldn't it be nice to harness the power of that great investment with your RSP? Well, you can. Your RSP portfolio is not just for stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. You can use your RSP to invest in private mortgages. Private mortgages are secured against real property. In our current market, they can yield as high as 14 to 16% return. How does that stand up to what your current RSP portfolio is doing now? To learn more about RSP mortgage investing, go to rrspmortgageinvestor.com. That's rrspmortgageinvestor.com. Let me show you how you can turn your RSP portfolio into a money magnet. That's rrspmortgageinvestor.com. Now back to the show. The next thing, number 5, is the buyer that says, no, we haven't spoken to a lender or a bank, but I know everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. Well, folks, we are probably in the most challenging time in terms of financing that I've ever seen in the business. Deals that were slam dunks, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they're not slam dunks anymore. So it's very important that you go and talk to your lender or broker, mortgage broker, before you start shopping for a home. Get a clear picture on what you can afford. And make sure, especially you people that deal with banks, make sure that they've gone through the process of running your credit bureau and verifying your employment, because those are probably the two biggest challenges. Okay, I see it all the time. People come in, oh yeah, I've been pre-qualified by the bank. Here's what I can afford. The bank didn't do anything. What they did was they pulled out a calculator based on your income, and they said, here's what you can afford. They didn't verify whether you had a permanent position in terms of a job. They didn't verify whether you had good credit or bad credit. They didn't verify whether you were on contract or, that sort of thing. These are all little sucker punches that happen afterwards. And now what you've done is wasted your time, the agent's time, and the seller's time, and you've made a conditional offer and you have no ability to make good on the offer. Okay. Or the other thing, of course, is, especially in today's day and age where buyers are using their RSPs to buy a property. Some of them put the money into an RSP during the buying search, at the beginning of the buying search, and then they go out and shop for a house, and then all of a sudden they're looking at something that needs to close in 30 days. Folks, that money needs to sit in an account, especially with the RSP. I think the RSP, I believe, needs to exist 90 days before you can pull it out. So all of a sudden you're making a commitment on a loan for 60 days or 30 days, or on a purchase, and you can't deal with it. So when you start shopping for a home, get pre-approved, not pre-qualified. And really, quite honestly, the people that do that are mortgage brokers. Bankers typically don't do it. Banks don't like spending the money on running the credit bureau, and more importantly, they don't verify the job. And quite honestly, it's sloppy. Okay? Get it from a mortgage broker. Even if you've spoken to a bank, get it from a mortgage broker. It doesn't cost you anything to do. Brokers are got a big package in terms of what they can offer you. Take a look at it before you start shopping for a home. Okay? And the other thing that probably bothers me more than anything else is number six is when buyers call a listing agent direct, have a look at the property, and then end up going away and buying it from somebody else. Okay. Now, there are some agents that are not good at qualifying those calls. Okay. So when somebody calls on one of my listings, I always ask if they're working with a realtor. If they're working with a realtor, I am not looking to intervene on that relationship. Okay, that's not my intention. But what I want to know is if you're working with a realtor, then you need to use your realtor to go look at that house. There's nothing more frustrating to a listing agent, especially when there's somebody's been lied to, where you ask, "Are you working with a realtor?" And they say no. They look at the property, and all of a sudden, an offer comes in from a different party. Folks, I got to tell you, especially in today's day and age, you're not doing yourself any favors because many of these offer situations are multiple offers and you've just ticked off the listing agent by using him, okay, or her. Folks, that's not a good idea, okay? You want as many things in your favor as you can. Don't tick off the listing agent. And quite honestly, be respectful of their time. If your agent is not available, your agent should have made arrangements for somebody to be taking care of the business while they weren't available, or you're just going to have to deal with it. But don't waste the listing agent's time if you have no interest in using that listing agent to purchase the property. So anyway, that's my sort of rant for the week. I hope I didn't tick anybody off, but I'm a 28-year veteran. I certainly love the real estate business, but there are little things that happen in it that are frustrating, and I'm just trying to make sure that the public is aware of it so that, when you make your real estate transaction, that things go off nice and smoothly for you, and you don't waste your time, you don't waste the seller's time, and you don't waste the realtor's time. Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of the Real Estate Mortgage Show. If you have any real estate questions, please direct them to me at 519-624-9222 or walter@maximumresults.ca, or you can find me online at www.cambridgehouses.com. If your interests are in mortgages, please feel free to call 519-624-9222 or email Karen@maximumresults.ca, or you can find her online at www.m as in Mary, R as in Roger, financial.ca. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you have a great week.